The movie starts with a former baseball player, Hank, who now works as a bartender. Hank also has a girlfriend named Yvonne, who is a pharmacist. At night, Hank's British punk neighbor Russ meets him and tells him, "My father has had a stroke and I'm going back to London to see him. Until I return, you take care of my cat and feed her on time." In the morning, when Hank steps out of his apartment, he sees two Russian mobsters, Pavel and Alexei, searching Russ's apartment. They then ask Hank, "Is Russ inside your apartment?" Hank tells them that he is not at his apartment. They then try to forcefully enter Hank's apartment, but when Hank stops them from going inside, they beat him badly. Meanwhile, the scene goes into a flashback where we see Hank driving in a car with his friend, Dale. A buffalo is standing in the middle of the road. To save the buffalo, Hank turns the car, and it collides with a pole. Then the scene returns to the present, and Hank is in the hospital. Because of the beating from those mobsters, he loses one of his kidneys. A few days later, Hank again sees Pavel and Alexei trying to break into his house. Hank quickly runs away from there and hides from them. Then he calls Detective Elise. Elise comes to Hank's apartment. She tells Hank that Russ is a drug dealer and he works for notorious Hasidic brothers Lipa and Shmuley. Elise tells Hank that if he sees them anywhere, he should call her immediately. Later, Hank finds a key on the cat's litter box. Meanwhile, through the peephole of his door, he sees Lipa and Shmuley breaking the lock of Russ's apartment and going inside. He then calls Elise and tells her that Lipa and Shmuley had just broke into Russ's apartment and have now left. Hank then goes to the bar where he works and drinks alcohol with the bar owner, Paul. Hank then comes to his apartment and passes out. The scene shifts back into a flashback where we see Hank badly injured. At that moment, he realizes Dale has died, and his knee is also severely wounded. He then gets out of the car and starts dragging himself away from his car. The scene then returns to the present. Colorado wakes Hank from his sleep. Colorado asks Hank if Russ gave him something before leaving. Hank tells Colorado that before Russ went to London, he gave him his cat to look after. After that, he found a key in the litter box, which he picked up and put in his pocket. Then he went to the bar, drank a lot, and passed out after returning to his apartment. Now he can't remember where he put the key or to whom he gave it. Colorado then tells Alexei and Pavel to torture him until he tells them about the key. Alexei and Pavel starts to torturing Hank. Meanwhile, Hank's neighbor hears Hank screaming and knocks on his apartment door. Alexei opens the door and scares Hank's neighbor away. Colorado tells Alexei, "Why did you open the door?" "He saw our faces." Before leaving, Colorado writes his number on a piece of paper and tells Hank, "Find the key quickly and call me on this number." He also warns him that if he calls that detective again, he will kill everyone who is close to him. Hank then calls Paul from a phone booth. Paul's guard answers the phone and tells him that Paul isn't home. Meanwhile, Lipa spots Hank and starts following him. Hank somehow manages to run and get away from him. Hank then calls Colorado and tells him that the key is with his friend. "I'll get it for you." Colorado tells Hank that he will also go with him to give him company, but Hank tells him no, he has a friend and he will go with her. Then Colorado tells Hank, "She is the same friend of yours who lives in Chinatown." As soon as Hank hears this, he quickly hangs up the phone and runs towards his apartment. Hank arrives at his apartment and finds Yvonne's dead body there. Elise then meets Hank and keeps Russ's cat with her as evidence. Then they go to the coffee shop. There, Hank learns that Colorado, Alexei, and Pavel work for Elise, and that Elise is a corrupt officer. In the car, Elise tells Hank that her men did not kill his girlfriend. Elise tells Hank, "Give me that key, I don't want any more bloodshed to happen." Hank tells Elise that I had given that key to the bar owner, Paul. They all arrive at Paul Bar. Elise tells Hank, "You have a few minutes. Go get the key from your boss. If you don't come out with the key in a few minutes, we'll break into the bar." Hank goes inside the bar and asks Paul where the key is that I gave you. Paul tells Hank, "Which key? When did you give me a key?" At the same moment, Elise also comes inside with her men. Elise tells Paul to give her the key that Hank gave him. Paul tells Elise that he doesn't have any key. Hank had not given him any key at all. Meanwhile, Colorado shoots and kills Paul's guard. Then he points the gun at Paul. Elise tells Colorado to calm down, but he doesn't listen to Elise, so she shoots and kills him. Elise again asks Paul for the key. He tells her that he has kept the key in a safe. Paul tells Elise the safe's code, but the safe doesn't open for her. Elise tells Paul to open the safe and give her the key. Paul takes a shotgun from the safe and shoots at them, and at the same moment, Hank closes the door. Paul then opens the door, and then they shoot and kill Paul. Meanwhile, Hank immediately closes the door. He also tells Elise that he doesn't remember where he put the key, and then runs away from there. As soon as Hank reaches the building's door, he remembers that last night he had taken off his pant and given it to a beggar. Hank then goes to that beggar and tells him that the pant he had given him contained a key. The beggar takes the key out of Hank's pant pocket and gives it to him. Hank then goes inside his apartment and closes the door. Just then, he hears the doorbell ring. He picks up his baseball bat and, without looking, strikes the person at the door on the head with it, and it turns out to be Russ. Hank tells Russ, "What trouble have you gotten me into? Those people first killed Yvonne, then they killed Paul as well." Russ tells Hank, "Come with me, I will explain everything to you." Then they both get in the car. On the way, Russ tells Hank that the key belongs to a locker that has a lot of money inside it. Russ then brings Hank inside that bunker, and there are 2 bags full of money lying there. Meanwhile, Russ points the gun at Hank and tells him, "I won't give this money to anyone. I'll take all this money and go to Tulum." Hank asks Russ, "Then what about me?" He tells him, "I don't care about you." Just then, Hank pushes Russ, due to which he falls to the ground and passes out. Hank calls Elise and tells her, "I have your money. I'll tell you the location, come there, and I'll give you all your money." He also asks her to bring along Russ's cat. Hank brings Russ to the same place where he is supposed to meet Elise. Hank tells Russ that his cat is with Elise and that she is about to arrive here. Russ says to Hank, "She will kill me, why did you bring me here?" At that moment, Elise also arrives there. Hank grabs Russ and brings him to Elise. Meanwhile, Russ tries to snatch the gun from Alexei, and the gun fires, hitting Pavel. At the same time, the cat bites Elise's hand. Hank quickly picks up the cat, and they both get in the car and start to run away. Elise also chases their car, but her car collides with another vehicle. Hank and Russ then get on a train, and Russ dies on the train. At night, Hank comes to the beach and falls asleep right there. The next morning, Hank gets a call from Elise. She tells him that she knows his mother's home address. "If you don't come to the Armitage Club with the money in 2 hours, I will kill your mother." Hank then calls his mother and tells her to quickly leave her house and go to Harry's house. Hank then meets Lipa and Shmuley and tells them that he killed Russ with a baseball bat. He tells them that I know where he has kept the money. They ask him if he has the key, but Hank tells them, no, the key is with Elise. Hank then tells them that he can take them to where Russ hid the money, but he has one condition. And that condition is that they must kill Elise. They agree to his condition. They arrive at the Armitage Club. They tie Hank's hands to the car's steering wheel. Then they take their guns and go inside the Armitage Club and shoot and kill Elise's men. Hank sees Elise, who comes out of the Armitage Club and runs toward the front. Meanwhile, he also sees Lipa and Shmuley, who come out of the Armitage Club and start going in the other direction to look for Elise. Hank calls out to them, but they are far away and cannot hear his voice. Hank then frees his hands and goes after Elise. He fights Alexei and hits him with a stick, knocking him unconscious. Then, he goes after Elise and hits her hand with a stick, making her drop her gun. He then picks up Elise's gun but is unable to kill her. At the same time, Lipa and Shmuley shoot and kill Elise. Lipa and Shmuley tell Hank to take the key out of Elise's pocket. Hank tells them that Elise doesn't have the key. Then he goes to the car and takes his cat out of the car, and he has tied the key to the cat's leg. Hank then starts to take Lipa and Shmuley in a car to bunker to get the money. On the way, he crashes the car into a pole, which leads to the death of Lipa and Shmuley. Hank makes himself look like Russ and arrives at the airport. Hank gives Russ's passport to the passenger service agent, and she is also unable to recognize him. Hank then calls his mother and tells her that she will receive a package and that she should keep it safe. The package arrives at Hank's mother's house, and when she opens it, she finds money inside. He then arrives in Tulum, and the movie ends there.